about the blockchain industry, how you think India and global market, what kind of perspective you are looking at as from Oracle part?
The blockchain, in fact, as per some of the analyst reports, blockchain is in fact the most disruptive technology. The applications are immense if you just think about it. Even if you just simply talk about a very simple track and trace application that spans across different industries, the blockchain will solve that problem globally, not just for India, but globally, right? One example, you get the medicines at your door. If you want to know how that medicine has been manufactured, what are the raw materials that have been used, where they have been sourced from, right, before you consume that medicine, for example. Or the other use cases, if you want to know whether the medicine is of consistent quality, that is supposed to be the quality of the medicine before you consume it, if you just want to know all of those things, right, blockchain is the answer. Another use case is foods. And the foods, in fact, I have seen Indian customers now graduating to that level where they are asking questions about, before I eat something, I want to know where it was sourced from, what condition it was kept in, and how it was transported to me, when I'm having it here. They want to know the entire history, of the food items that they are consuming. So if you think about the use cases, and I'm just trying to tell you the use cases that are visible to the consumers, right? There are many industrial or enterprise use cases as well. The various service level contracts and behaviors or relationships between the distributors and then the manufacturers and then the transporters. One way to describe the applicability of blockchain is trust. The businesses have been built on trust, but then how do you verify? Trust cannot just be on, just in words. Blockchain essentially solves that problem. You will be able to verify no matter whether you are a manufacturer, whether you are getting where you're getting the raw materials from your suppliers, you are manufacturing the finished goods. You are then handing over those finished goods to your logistic carriers, and then the logistic carriers then they are distributing those goods on your behalf to your distributors or to your consumers. Right? There are various parties involved. The trust element now can no longer just be limited to words. It can just be verified by all the stakeholders, right? So there are immense opportunities, not just in India, globally, right, of blockchain applications.
Great. So you mentioned about smart manufacturing also.
Right.
So AI has a big role in this smart manufacturing or any other thing you talk about.
Right.
So how Oracle or you guys are working towards this?
Right. See, AI is a buzzword. I will not deny that, right? Every conversation, every interview is just this, there will be conversation around AI. However, I'll just cite one metric before we go into the details of what we are doing. Gartner's analysis says that by 2020, out of the number of AI projects that companies will embark upon, 60% of them will stall. AI projects will stall because it's not simple. If you think about what it takes to make AI productionable or put it into production, right? You got to have the domain knowledge of the industry that you're working in. You got to have the knowledge of the data science, to be applied to that domain, which is a statistical, knowledge, right, that needs to be applied. Number 3 is you need to have the skills to build applications that will then make the outcomes of the AI consumable to various stakeholders within your company. And if you think about how many companies have all of these skills together, right? So that's the primary reason why Gartner says that a lot of these AI projects will stall. Now, we have learned from this quite early, when we started conceptualizing how we should be taking products such as AI and IoT to our consumers. One of the ways we have built our products is these products have been built as pre-packaged and offered as SaaS applications. What does that mean in the context of the problem that I just told you about? These are plug-and-play applications. They have all the analytics content, the analytics algorithms, the AI and machine learning algorithms pre-built inside those applications. So the customers, number one, they don't necessarily need to have a data science skill on the table for them to be able to use these applications. The business users can simply start using those applications. Number two, these are pre-packaged applications. So the customers don't have to build these applications by investing time and money and effort on their own. They are usable right from day one. Okay. So that's one of the biggest differentiators that we bring on the table, right? Now, the point number three is all of the AI, for example, right? How is it used in an enterprise? AI is never used just for the sake of using some technology. AI industries use AI because they want to drive the business outcomes. That's what matters for them. Now, where are their business processes running at this point in time? The business processes are running in their business applications that they have already invested in. Now, who is the vendor, a prominent vendor of these business applications? Obviously, Oracle, right? So when we bring out the products such as IoT and AI into the market, we also have the understanding of the business processes and business applications that the customers use. So our AI and IoT capabilities are very well integrated with those business processes and business applications, right? So the customers can start seeing the business outcomes by the use of this technology right from day one, rather than trying to use the technology just for the sake of technology and not seeing the ROI or the business outcomes out of that.
Can you talk about any client you have served in this smart manufacturing and IoT in India or globally, whatever?
Yeah, in India we have many customers who have started adopting IoT and AI. Unfortunately, I won't be able to name them at this point in time because they're not yet referenceable, but they are, as I speak, they're undergoing the implementation. Some of the customers in APAC's countries such as Vietnam, smaller countries, right? They have gone live with our IoT products, right? And I hope that they'll soon be referenceable customers based on the results that they are seeing. However, there are many customers that we have globally who have gone production live and they're referenceable. For example, one such customer that I'll talk about is Gemu. Gemu manufactures the walls, industrial walls that are used in the process of pharmaceuticals manufacturing, right? Each one of these walls is a pretty costly, asset, for the customers who have those installed in the production plants. Gemu has now used Oracle's IoT asset monitoring application to IoTify these walls. Right? So what happens at the end of the day? Their process before using the IoT application was the wall used to develop a problem, and the problem was noticed reactively, and then the ensuing process of generating a work order and sending a technician to this work site to identify what has gone wrong, and then figuring out what parts needs to be replaced, and then procuring those parts and scheduling another visit to the customer site to replace those parts, right? Pretty long workflow that we used to go into, but even the long workflow they probably may live with at the expense of some cost, obviously, but their problem was manifold, bigger than the length of the workflow. If the valve is malfunctioning, the consistency of the pharmaceutical that is produced could go bad, and then the whole batch that is manufactured will have to be set aside. That cannot be sold, right? So they started using the Oracle's IoT asset monitoring. Now the capability that they have is not only after the wall breaks, but now because of the analytics that they can do based on the data that they're getting from the IoT application, they get to know about the anomalies in the wall even before the wall breaks, right? And then the entire workflow is all automated without any manual intervention. things such as creating a work order, things such as the technician doesn't have to visit the site to identify what has gone wrong. Because when the work order was created, the IoT system reported which part is malfunctioning. So the ERP can be automatically updated to reserve those parts. A notification sent to the technician to pick up the part on the way, and then visit the customer and do just in one visit fix everything, right? And imagine the customer experience here. The customer never noticed the problem. That's the biggest irritant for the customers. Something has broken down and they notice it, and then they have to live with the asset downtime. In this case, the customer hasn't even noticed what is wrong, and then there's a technician coming and fixing the problem and almost reducing the downtime, right? There are other industrial manufacturing customers as well. We have Bosch Rexroth. Bosch Rexroth manufactures industrial machinery. I mean, they manufacture the machinery that is used by many other manufacturing companies. So they also have their production line of their own to manufacture these machines, and they use the IoT's production monitoring application to monitor the production line, the yield, the quality, various issues on the production line, and taking proactive action with respect to managing their entire maintenance workflow. All of these things, that they have used IoT production monitoring applications for. We have customers using our IoT fleet monitoring, application to get the real-time visibility into the operations of the fleet. When the goods or the shipments are on the road, both, when the shipments are being carried on your own vehicles, or shipments may be carried on a third-party logistic provider's vehicles, right? They have filled that black hole, if you may, in terms of visibility that they used to have earlier after the shipments used to leave their premises, now by using up IoT fleet monitoring.
So I want to understand in the terms of costing.
Sure.
In India,
right,
as you mentioned,
right,
most of the companies are trying to implement AI or IoT.
Right.
But is the cost is a bigger factor to adopt it or avoid it for a few years again?
Right.
Is there some kind of a difference you see in global market and in Indian market?
Very good question. I have been in the software industry for more than a couple decades now. One of the very interesting trends that I'm seeing in the last couple of years is the adoption of these latest technologies even in smaller countries, and not just India. We have customers who have bought our products, and I'm talking about the IoT products, latest technology products, in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka, in Vietnam, in Malaysia, Indonesia, right? If you look at this trend and then try to analyze why it has happened, there are a couple of cost is definitely one of the most important factors for this entire region, APAC region, right? You know the reasons why. However, there are a couple of things that have helped, alleviate the situation for the customers and help them adopt these these applications. Number one, Oracle offers all these applications as cloud offerings. So they don't have to buy these applications from their capital budget. They essentially can subscribe to these applications from their operational, budget. Number one, right? These applications are not as costly as some of the on-premise solutions used to be in the past. So number one, their appetite is can be fulfilled, because of these low-priced applications that we have. Number two, when it comes to applications such as IoT, there is a cost of sensor and the communication that is involved. But if you look at the developments, I would say not just in the last couple of years, but over last 5 to 10 years, the cost of silicon has gone down tremendously. Okay, so the sensors, the cost of the sensors has gone down quite a lot. Cost of communication, I think you know that even in rural India, farmers use 4G. Right? So the cost of communication has gone down tremendously as well. So combination of these couple of factors has in fact reduced the cost of the sensors to be used for applications such as IoT. And that is one of the reasons we see now, people even in the smaller customers even in the smaller countries are not only thinking about using these applications, but they're actually using these applications effectively right now as we speak. Right? And for some of the manufacturing customers, actually they can start adopting IoT, and they have, without any net new investment on the hardware side, because a lot of the manufacturing customers already use the SCADA and the PLC on the shop floor. They have systems such as MES and data historians, which capture data from these machines. So the IoT systems can plug into these data historians to extract data, pull data from the historians and use it, for the analytics and then the workflow automation. So there is no net new investment required for these manufacturing customers to start their IoT journey. So all of these factors have helped people adopt IoT a lot more aggressively than otherwise.
So according to Gartner, in 2020, most of the people will start looking at voice search.
Right.
50% people will
Right.
move toward voice
Right.
search. Are you looking this as a new business model, or you are doing something around it?
Yes, this is in fact one of the research areas for Oracle now for quite some time. We are building our applications and exposing the functionality of these applications using voice interfaces to our customers, right? So this is we call that as the enhanced interactivity, right, with our customers, right? How do we make these applications more interactive for our customers? Technologies such as chatbot and voice interfaces, right, come into play, and we are actively building these interfaces for a lot of our products, not just IoT, but even our HR systems, our supply chain applications, our customer experience applications. They are all being enhanced to provide the chatbot and voice interfaces, right? So yes, you're absolutely right. That's the interaction model that all of the Oracle applications are going ahead with.
Okay. Firstly, I want to say that this is a lot of technological advancement that you're talking about.
Right.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Is the current cybersecurity system in India
Right.
equipped to handle this kind of technological advancement?
I think there are. It's pretty valid to have the doubts about the security of your data, right? And there are, especially if you look at the real deployment of some of these technologies, there are various components or parts involved, right? However, if I don't want to be overly optimistic, but I'm just trying to put the real picture in front of you, right? When the cloud came into being, maybe let's say 10 years back, there were questions asked in terms of, can I put my CEO's salary on the cloud? Because the HR system captures the employee's salaries. Can I put my CEO's salaries on the cloud? Do you see that question being asked today? Right? So there were concerns, and the technology have resolved those concerns. And I'm sure some of those concerns that we currently see will be resolved, as we go along. One of the ways, in my opinion, that's the architectural approach that we have taken in resolving these concerns is, as Oracle, we have been building enterprise applications for decades now, right? So we have handled the security aspects of the enterprise business for decades now. We know exactly how it needs to be handled, right? We have used the same principles and the design tenets even for these new technologies such as IoT, where there are non-human participants involved. When I say non-human, I'm talking about the devices and machines, right? We have taken the same exact approach in terms of securing the interaction with the devices and machines, right? So tried and tested approach now being applied as a pattern into this new domain as well. So I am relatively a lot more confident in saying that these interactions are quite a lot secure, compared to what the concerns were even a couple of years back. I think we are moving away from those concerns. I'm sure there will be new concerns that we will have as we go along. But security, in my opinion, it was a concern, but I don't think it is not that much at this point in time. Right.
Since you mentioned automation of processes,
Right.
let's speak from an HR perspective.
Right.
What impact does this have on hiring? Since you mentioned, a lot of processes will be automated. Yeah. So, I read the report that AI is going to create so many million jobs.
Right.
But according to you, how does it impact hiring?
this is a question that is pretty difficult to answer, right? Because it is not just a question that is related to technology, but this is a question related to cultures and societies and communities, right? So there are various factors involved. It's a pretty complex phenomena, right? That cannot be answered very easily saying that yes or no, there will be impact, right? But if I have to put my money on the table, I would be more optimistic rather than being pessimistic, right? I'll tell you why. If you just look at the journey that all of us had as a community, I'm saying, right? Forget about companies or enterprises. As a community, overall community had in the last 2 decades. If you just look back, right? What do you see? Have you seen decline in jobs or have you seen increase in jobs?
Indeed.
Right? The simple answer is increase in jobs. Now let's ask ourselves another question. Have we seen decrease in usage of newer technologies or increase in usage of newer technologies? Increasing usage of. So if you just sort of extrapolate this trend, there is my answer, an optimist answer. But technically what I think will happen, and which is what has happened in the historical trend also, if you look at the historical trend, is we as human beings are meant to do a lot more enhanced value add things. We have those capabilities. We have, brain is not just a muscle for us, right? And that's what will happen as we go along. People will get rid of the mundane jobs that doesn't require application of your creativity, and they will evolve into doing a lot more creative things. Humans will never be replaced, in my opinion, by any technology. There will always be huge scope for humans to perform the value-added tasks, and my prediction is that the jobs will in fact increase, because of this simple historical trend and my philosophy or my theory of how to use humans' creativity.
Blockchain, since there's nothing concrete to talk about right now, what kind of enthusiasm do you see in companies to adopt blockchain in India?
Right. I'll give you a historical, perspective on this. Right now we have a blockchain cloud service which is offered as platform as a service from Oracle. We in fact are working on some exciting new products in this area which will be announced next month. So stay tuned for those announcements. These are all in the blockchain area. But one thing that I've seen that I've not seen for other products so far, even before we launch the products in the market, we have seen customers willing to not just ask us questions or curious about it, but they are willing to work with us in building these products. So I have not seen this sort of a excitement, and curiosity about any technology, yet so far in my experience, as we have seen it for the blockchain applications. I think India. I don't think in my opinion, we should look at India as a technically completely different set of consumers versus the rest of the globe. I think the boundaries in terms of technical maturity are getting blurred. So all the use cases that I talked about in terms of how blockchain can help enterprises, different industries, they're all applicable in here as well, right? So I don't see we should distinguish between India's use cases versus the globally. There are certain regional differences that will be there every place, but I think there is a huge excitement around blockchain products even in India.